Dave O'Brien, my partner Corey Alexander, and Katie George is courtside in just a couple of moments. Corey, this is a big-time clash of styles tonight.
It is. The size of North Carolina, who leads the country in rebounds. When you think about the skill and the speed of Virginia Tech, who, of course, lead the country in assist to turnover ratio, tops in the ACC, and they do it behind Wabisa Bede, who leads the ACC with a 3.96 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. Mike Young says they couldn't play this way without him. And he is the guy, the catalyst for the way they play offense. And they happen to make 10.5 three-pointers a game, which is their strength.
Yeah. When we talk about Carolina's injury woes, it's getting historic. And tonight, they are without the senior Brandon Robinson. He did not make the trip from Chapel Hill. He's still feeling the effects of an auto accident. The Tar Heels with a head-slapping injury list all season long. And a big reason they're 8-9, 1-5 in the ACC. Roy Williams still trying to get to 880 career victories. Still tied with the legendary Dean Smith. And we're underway as the Tar Heels win the opening tip tonight here at Castle Coliseum. North Carolina, a 4-game losing skid. And Corey, amazing to say this, but they've dropped 5 straight in the ACC.
Yeah, people forget about the game at University of Virginia, December the 8th, the last time that Cole Anthony played. And we've seen this before. Leaky Black starting off the game, knocking down a three-pointer, but then he doesn't shoot them later. So Leaky Black, without Brandon Robinson, is going to have to be a strong part of the perimeter offense for North Carolina.
You mentioned how young the Hokies are now. 3 of these guys are freshmen. They're one of the youngest teams in the country, but so good with the basketball, they almost never turn it over.
And which really is an oxymoron when you think about young. And speaking of young, redshirt freshman Landers Nolley steps up and knocks down a three-pointer where he has been special all season long.
Yeah, he's averaging 18 points a game. As you look at the North Carolina starting 5, Roy Williams has had to use far too many point guards, of course. Baycott in tight for 2. Look for that tonight.
And that is where North Carolina has to be successful in this game, getting the ball inside to Baycott as well as Garrison Brooks. And when they're not shooting long shots, they don't give Virginia Tech opportunities in transition. Keep getting it into the paint if you want to be successful for the guys in light blue.
And a traveling violation here in the opening moments as we bring in Katie George with more on the injury issue with North Carolina. Katie?
Well, after scoring a career-high 27 points against Clemson on January 11th, Brandon Robinson was driving home when he was struck by a drunk driver around midnight. Now, he walked away from the accident with soreness in his neck, not a concussion, so he was cleared to play against Pittsburgh this past Saturday. In that game, though, he took a hit that aggravated the lingering symptoms from the wreck. On Sunday, he woke up in pain, and it hasn't improved since. Roy Williams did not want to push the issue. That now makes for 4 injured players, Dave.
They caught out the window, no. A tussle for the rebound, and the Hokies come away with it. Brandon's a tough kid. He played 32 minutes after the accident in that game.
He did, but, you know, North Carolina actually last week had the bye week, so they didn't have a game in the middle of the week, and he didn't practice until Thursday of that week. Felt fine, had an opportunity to see him on Saturday. Did say that his neck was a bit stiff but not sore, but after that game and taking a big hit in the Pittsburgh game, just unable to recover from that accident.
Corner off target from three-point land, and keep in mind, for Virginia Tech, about half of their shots, in fact, exactly half of their shots that they take are three-pointers. Nolley on the attack, trying to bank it in, won't go. And tipped out of play, and North Carolina will have it. Robinson 12 points a game, so they lose a scorer there. Anthony and Robinson, 3-point field goals made, so the rest of the team with 39.
And Landers Nolley has more three-pointers made on the field on the season by himself than the rest of the North Carolina team. So when you look at that, this North Carolina team, it's been a struggle for them shooting the basketball all season long. The lowest shooting percentage team for the University of North Carolina since 1957-58.
You see they're going into Baycott again, the 6'10 freshman, McDonald's All-American. He's the man they want.
And those are opportunities that Armando Baycott can't, you know, turn down. And when you talk about turn down, meaning that he has to come away from points, getting the basketball that close to the basket, especially against single coverage. Virginia Tech right now not sending a double team to get the basketball out of his hands. They're basically banking on the fact that North Carolina's twos can't beat their threes.
Keep track of it. He just picked up his first foul. Absolutely, for Carolina, he has to stay out of foul difficulty. Pulling off the fake, slashing inside, and he tosses that one right to the Carolina bench. So a rare turnover again, as you mentioned. Averaging only 9.5 turnovers per game. That is the least frequent turnover team in the country. And Mike Young, in his first year, grew up just 20 minutes from Blacksburg. His very first college basketball game he ever attended was in the rafters here.
And he grew up, of course, watching Virginia Tech basketball, but was a huge fan of North Carolina.
That's a sweet move inside by Garrison Brooks. They need a big game from him.
They really do. And you talk about big games. Young man who went for 35 and 11 in the highest scoring game that North Carolina had this year, where they scored 83 points against Georgia Tech in a double-figure loss. And so Garrison Brooks is capable of putting up big numbers, and his team needs to continue to do so to try to be successful.
Beatty averaging 6 assists per game, drives it and scores it with a quick move to the rack.
And you want to talk about development. Wabisa Beatty has thrived in this system under Mike Young. Doesn't score a ton, but takes advantage of his opportunities when he knows that he can beat his man off the dribble.
Looks for a lot of attention. Turns it over, but Carolina gets it right back. In the lane, there's Brooks for 2. It's been a good start for Carolina.
It really has, and it's been a great start because they've been able to get the basketball inside. They do have the leaky black three-pointer, but Armando Bacot and Garrison Brooks, both those guys getting their opportunities at the rim. That has to be the recipe for success for North Carolina for 40 minutes.
Long distance and knocked in from three-point land by Jalen Cone, who's only hitting 56% from 3.
That's all? Young man had a big game against Syracuse on the road and got the attention.
Now Pierce with an answer, and I mean that's been a dead zone for him. He's 21% beyond the 3.
Well, and it's a young man who shot the basketball well in his previous 3 years, played at William & Mary, and coming to North Carolina as a grad transfer, expecting for him to take and make big shots, especially from beyond the three-point arc. Hasn't worked out that way for Pierce thus far this season.
On the spin, Nolly fired up there. He's hitting 38%. He's taken 266 shots this season, 133 of them beyond the three-point line. Another one from way downtown. Expect a lot of that tonight as Playtech is off target, but they'll get a second look.
And expect a lot of that as well. Second chance opportunities for North Carolina, getting over 14 offensive rebounds per game, and with a smaller front line that Virginia Tech plays with, look forward to.
Was on December 30 against Yale, so that was Roy Williams' last victory. Was number 879. Still one away from untying himself with Dean Smith on the all-time list.
And Roy has talked to you and I both about the fact that he's not concerned about number 880. He's only concerned about number 9. That would be the 9th win for this team this season. And it just goes to show you the great coach that he is, not complacent with getting to a point to where he can pass his mentor Dean Smith, but concerned about the benefit of what this team is going through right now. And he talks about how much his team needs a win for the kids' sake.
And there's Nolly, the freshman from Atlanta, at the line. He's 78%. Landers is a junior. His dad played for Dale Brown at LSU. 18 points and 6 rebounds a game. And the number 3 scorer in the ACC. He's had a great freshman year.
Yeah, 5 ACC Rookie of the Week honors to tie with Kobe White and Zion Williamson, another guy you might have heard of, making a big debut tonight. Both those guys had 5 last year, tying for the top. And Landers Nolly already with 5, with another half of a season to play.
Here's got a good look from three-point land. Virginia Tech trying to tie or take the lead here on their home floor. They're 13-5, coming off a 71-69 loss to Syracuse. They missed a shot in the final seconds. Battle into the corner, hustling for that is Radford, and the Hokies are going to have the basketball. You're talking about Dean Smith, right? And a connection that Mike Young has with Roy Williams and Coach Smith. He once attended a basketball camp, the Dean Smith summer camp. Roy Williams coached in it. And they made Mike run sprints the day after he left the lights on all night in the dorm room. He said, I almost died. They ran me so hard.
I need to do that with little court. Because there's really lights as he leaves on around my house. I either hand him an electric bill or make him run sprints. I think that's a much better form of discipline to be able to figure it out.
Got to coach him up and then hand him the bill. Baycott kicks it out.
Well, Virginia Tech now double teaming the post. They didn't start out the game with the double team, but Baycott and Brooks both had success early, so going to the double team now, and it's worked. Kicking the basketball out and forcing others to beat you besides the two big men, and that's a mistake. You can't leave that young man open at the top of the key. A mix-up getting back in transition, and Landers Nolley makes the Tar Heels pay.
Well, he opened the season with 30 points against Clemson. That was the best debut in school history. Black front rimmed it, but did a nice job following his own miss, but that's going to be out Baycott and out of play.
And running back in transition, Virginia Tech is not the conventional team. You have to recognize that Landers Nolley, who was the tallest player on the court at the time for the Hokies, is a knockdown three-point shooter. Three-point field goal make number 53 for Nolley on this season. And you have to know where he is at all times, especially identifying him in transition.
Real winner at Langston Hughes High School in Atlanta. He led them to 2 state championships.
And he has the benefit of, you know, he's a redshirt freshman, so he's been here for a season, had the opportunity to work on his game, as well as get to know college life and what is expected from him as a college athlete. And it has really shown for him this season, getting off to a great start.
Ojiako in the ball game. Way downtown, that's Wilkins with a misfire. Ojiako's 6'10", so that's a jolt to size for the Hokies. They don't have that luxury too often.
It is, and one of the things that Mike Young is concerned about is Ojiako staying out of foul trouble when he gets in the game so that he can rest P.J. Horn and Landers Nolley and get those guys spelled, especially when they have to battle with the two bigs of Baycott and Brooks.
The crowd starting to buzz. Shot clock is down to 5. Brooks bullying his way in, short rims it. And there's Wilkins with the stop. That's a 7-0 run for the Hokies. Baycott on a battle, hooks it up and in. That's a sweet shot.
That is, and with Ojiako in the game, they're not going to double team. They're going to allow him to guard Armando Baycott straight up. Baycott has to be able to take advantage of that, but speaking of taking advantage, that was a dime where Bisabidi just dropped in transition.
Well, he is a gifted passer, again 6 assists per game. Really not much of a shooter. He has plenty of those guys around him, though.
He really does, but he attacks the basket so well with great vision to help his teammates score.
He's going to drive and kick. Aline can't find the range. Other freshmen played very well as of late for the Hokies. And Platek with a nice move there on the baseline to drop it in.
Great cut by Platek and an even better pass by Garrison Brooks. Recognizing the aggressive nature of the Hokies denying the basketball. You turn your head. The one thing about North Carolina, and this goes all the way back to the Dean Smith days, you turn your head, it's going to be a back cut, backdoor layup for the Tar Heels.
Up there for the big fellow, he's going to bank it in. Ojiako with a basket. And Virginia Tech up by a point.
And if he can give them that on the offensive end of the floor, it truly helps this Virginia Tech team. They don't get much production inside the paint, especially from a post player.
Gilling just recently into the game. Noel with the jump shot. And he gives it up. And Petoro to drive, but a blocking foul. And back to the dunk moments ago.
Well, Bisabidi advancing the basketball on that play, but it was this one, dropping a dime to Isaiah Wilkins.
Welcome back to Blacksburg. Hokies lead by 1. Carolina's Cole Anthony is still sidelined with his right knee injury, but he took to Twitter last night, tweeting this: "Tired of seeing all this talk, my mind is made up. Can't wait to get back on the court with my brothers at UNC basketball, #soon." As for where Anthony is at in his recovery, He has not gone through a full practice yet, but he has participated in shooting drills for the past week. This morning, he put up shots throughout the shoot-around, and he looked good while doing it. Corey, you've coached this guy. What prompted Cole to tweet this?
Well, he was tired, Katie, of seeing everyone else control the narrative regarding whether he was going to come back, whether it was a good business decision for him to sit out the year. Cole Anthony is a basketball player. He loves to play basketball, and more importantly, he is a very good teammate. And so when you see him talk about his brothers, he feels that sense of obligation to come back and help this team win. He loves University of North Carolina, and he chose to come here because of what it would do for him after basketball. And knowing that, he does not want to abandon this season concerned about his NBA status. He wants to get back on the court and play for the Tar Heels.
Jeremiah Francis, the freshman, tiptoeing through for a nice move there. 19-18, the Hokies on the attack and a traveling violation. So I'm reading that tweet. Katie's talking about, you're talking about. I'm thinking, what in that tweet would indicate anything other than he's coming back?
Well, and he came over and talked to us, of course, before the game, and he made it clear, I'm going to play basketball again for the University of North Carolina. And I can't tell you, Dave, that it is the best business decision because I don't know. And I'm not saying it's not great. He could come back and play great and raise his NBA stock. He could come back and maybe not be as good and hurt his NBA stock. But he's not concerned about that, and that's what I love most about him. He is a competitor through and through, loves the game, and is a very good teammate. If there's anything that I can, of course, coaching him a year ago, the one thing that I can say about him is he is concerned about the success of the team and about winning. And he feels as though with him on this court, this team can win. And he wants to get back and show everyone that's the case.
And I think the most refreshing thing you're talking about there is a true love of the game. He wants to get on the floor. He made a commitment to be at North Carolina. What about the role his dad plays in his thought process and all that?
Well, his dad, Greg, of course, with, tremendous NBA knowledge and had a great career himself. Greg wanted Cole to be in a place where they had a national alumni, where when he finished playing basketball in the NBA, whether he's in college for 1 year or not, he has a place to come back to that's a family. And Greg was very insistent on that with Cole in the places that he considered, which were North Carolina. You're talking Notre Dame. Great basketball programs, but also great universities. They chose North Carolina for that reason, but it had a lot more to do with off the court than it did with on the court. He was going to be fine wherever he went to play basketball.
We shall see an All-America candidate for a chunk of the season. Hasn't played since December 8th. Shot clock at 5 for Carolina. Brooks up and in for 2. He's been a bright light several times this season. Remember the Georgia Tech game? He had 35 and 11.
And one of the things for North Carolina, if we talk about getting Cole Anthony back, well, what you've gained is a more aggressive Garrison Brooks. And if Garrison Brooks can be that guy with Cole Anthony back and you get a healthy Brandon Robinson back, now you have an opportunity in your second half of ACC play to make a run. And speaking of second half of ACC play, I'm not sure Jalen Cone's going to miss a shot in the second half of ACC play because this young man is on fire right now.
I still don't think enough people are talking about him. Nicely done as Killing gets the easy basket as they run it in the paint. Back to Jalen Cone now, listed as 5'10".
Generous.
Very
indeed. Generous.
But in the midst of 4 consecutive double-doubles, 15 for his last 25 from three-point land. His range is like 5 feet inside midcourt.
Well, we watched him in shoot-around earlier today, and then, of course, walking into the gym earlier about 6:15.
Beautiful move there by Nolly.
And he's up here putting up shots from the logo and knocking them down with consistency. And Jalen Cone, one thing about him, and you can see it, he plays with a tremendous amount of confidence, so confident that Mike Young had to get him in the starting lineup.
Tech rushing an air ball 3. Cone in transition will pull up and misfire. So 1 and done on that one. North Carolina trying to get to their 9th win of the season. Tech airborne and a shove there. And a foul against Virginia Tech. On top, 24-22 foul on Couture.
Speaking of confidence, this young man has a lot. Landers Nolley, not just a shooter.
NC State Monday night, despite holding State scoreless for 10 minutes in the second half. Here, Virginia Tech up by 2 on North Carolina. The building is sold out here in Blacksburg, where it can get awfully loud when they get it rolling. And they've had it rolling quite a bit this season. Tech up top.
They get it rolling from beyond the three-point arc. one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country, averaging over 10.4 per game. But right now, defensively doing the job. I'm not sure if anyone from North Carolina knows the shot clock was running down.
Black did get it off in time, but a miss.
And give Virginia Tech credit for what they've been able to do on the glass thus far. Only one offensive rebound for North Carolina. I'm sorry, 0 offensive rebounds for North Carolina in this game.
Well, Virginia Tech certainly undersized. Well, they can be very tough on the glass, particularly the offensive glass. Bacot banging away, and that's going to stick.
Oh.
And a possession arrow carrot the other way for the Hokies.
Well, you know what that is, Obi. That's a wedgie. And jump hook to a wedgie, you got to have a soft touch to do that. I'm sure that's not something that Armando Bacot's going to brag about, but very soft touch.
You just gave all the 7th graders who are watching tonight chills when you mentioned wedgie. Stay away from the wedgie. Under 5.5 to go here in the first half. Quick moving first half. The Hokies don't foul. Great fake by Nale. Can't stick it. Rebound won't drop. Radford with a miss and picked up by the Tar Heels.
And Radford with the wingspan, and you talk about, Coach Young says, you know, you see him go out and make plays and get offensive rebounds that you wouldn't expect from a guy his size. Unable to finish, but Justin Pierce knocking down his second three-pointer here in the first half, and Pierce getting the start in this game. Maybe that was the key, getting him in early enough to where he could be in a rhythm, but it's had a good start for the Heels.
Been so tough for North Carolina to keep a consistent lineup. Into a pull-up pop. Roy Williams has never started more than 2 point guards in a single season until this one, but he's already started 4 point guards this year, this current season for North Carolina.
Well, that has been the struggle for North Carolina. We've seen them play well for stretches in this 5-game losing streak and then fall apart late in games. But right now, Garrison Brooks putting the team on his shoulders and trying to change that here at Castle Coliseum. Early in this game, Brooks has done a tremendous job getting to the basket, making plays for himself and his teammates, and attacking the paint. 8 points early, as well as 3 assists for Brooks in this game. And you talk about a young man who has experienced success with this team, won a #1 seeded team a year ago, and of course 5 straight ACC losses. Garrison Brooks trying to make a change here tonight.
And to that point, North Carolina just not used to this. The last 4 years in the seeding in the NCAA tournament, number 1, number 2, number 1.
And if you go back through those last 4 years, you're talking about a team that has played in 2 straight national championships, losing 1 to Villanova on the last second shot, coming back the next year, winning a national championship, and then a #1 seed a year ago. So when you talk about, you know, Carolina Blue losing, especially at this rate, is not something they're very familiar with.
Yeah. It's actually bizarre. Nice fake by Cone. Can't stick it, though.
And that's a tough shot, one that Mike Young doesn't feel as though his team needs, especially with time remaining on the shot clock. We talked about Cone's confidence and his ability to let it fly. Maybe a little too aggressive on that possession.
Pierce deep in the corner. He's nailed a couple of threes, really giving Roy Williams' team a big lift. Shot clock to 8. On the spin, the kick out. Now back inside. Brooks again. He's really got it going.
He does, and you look at, you know, Brooks listed at 6'8", but I can tell you right now, if PJ Horn is 6'6", Brooks is 6'10". There's a big difference between the two of these guys size-wise. And of course, the power forward has to guard Brooks because you've got to put whoever your center is on Armando Bacot. So North Carolina with a tremendous advantage on the interior.
Well, they've got a 7-0 run to build a 29-24 lead and playing airtight defense in transition.
And an even bigger feat for the Tar Heels, they have not been turning the basketball over.
Well, and then Pierce does exactly that. 5-point lead for the Tar Heels, under 3 minutes to go in a very fast-moving first half.
And if you were saying that when that happened, I would have blamed it on you.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I would have earned it.
But you're better than me. You didn't blame that on me. I appreciate that.
My lips are sealed, at least until halftime. And you look at the Virginia Tech turnovers for tonight. 9.5 per game, which is the fewest of any team in the country coming to play this evening. Tech, by the way, scoreless over the last 4 minutes. So the defense for North Carolina has been a star. Pushed up there by Cone, but it won't drop. And a rebound by Brooks, who's averaging 9 a game. Cross court, Pierce, tough catch. In fact, he's on the line.
See, I should have said nothing. I talked about how well they were handling the basketball. North Carolina at the time had 7 assists, only 1 turnover. And just like that, back-to-back turnovers for the Tar Heels. Getting out in transition. Roy Williams asking his team, settle down, calm down. Let's get back to doing what we've done to get us this lead.
Nolly again. We could see coming off his hand that was not going to drop. And North Carolina has an opportunity to build a decent lead going into the locker room.
And Obi, one of the things that, we have to be concerned about in this game, Landers Nolly, who is a shooter and scorer, having to defend a post player. That wears on your legs, especially when you get late in this game, having to deal with that. That could affect his jump shot.
Justin Pierce has shown up tonight for North Carolina. He's having a standout first half.
In North Carolina's only other road win of the season, Pierce had a big game, scoring 17 points against UNC Wilmington. And so back in the starting lineup and feeling good about his game here tonight is Justin Pierce.
Well, they couldn't get it to go, but he draws the foul. With 90 seconds left before halftime, it'll go on Pierce. And so Nolly will be at the line, the freshman from Atlanta. He will be shooting 2 with 1.5 minutes to go in the opening half. And North Carolina twice in the last 4 games has been down as many as 20 at halftime. This is a different looking Tar Heel team tonight so far. Tomorrow we have a women's basketball doubleheader here on ACC Network. 6 Eastern, Miami taking on Clemson. And it's Duke and Syracuse inside the Carrier Dome. And Nolly drops in that one to make it 31-26.
Right now, Jalen Cone trying to pick up full court. Armando Bacot doing a great job getting up and setting that screen, just pressuring, relieving the pressure on Leaky Black. And as Black is able to get it across half court, now you've got Virginia Tech playing disadvantage. And Garrison Brooks taking advantage of that once again, getting to the rim for the easy bucket.
And a very smooth bank shot to make it 33-26. Coming up on 1 minute left in the half. Nolly can't get it, but the tip is up and in. Ojiako will get that basket, and it's loose. Down on the block, Brooks. Slapped away, but he's on the line with 50.8 seconds to go. 33-28, North Carolina.
And Beatty doing a great job getting in, saving the layup, and more importantly, not fouling, putting Garrison Brooks at the free throw line. Tries to keep it in bounds, unable to make it happen, but that's really the character of Wabisa Beatty. He gives everything he has to this team. It is great to hear how Mike Young talks about him, but more so the recruiting process of how these two got to.
And a foul as well. Brooks slamming it down is fouled by Jalen Cone. And a thunder dunk.
Okay, 2 things on that possession. Great feed and great find by Leaky Black. Secondly, Jalen Cone, what are you doing? I know you're bouncy, but standing there vertically at a generous 5'10", more like 5'7", 5'8", you're not going to contend with Garrison Brooks. All you're doing is giving him a free throw and getting yourself on the wrong side.
A 3-point play, indeed, 36-28. And North Carolina and Roy Williams have to be very happy with what they've been able to do, particularly in the paint.
Well, and defensively, they've really done a good job of keeping Virginia Tech off that 3-point line. They're switching everything. Armando Bacot and Garrison Brooks both stepping out guarding guards, but what they're doing is running them off the line. And if you're North Carolina and you can keep Virginia Tech scoring 2s against you, you're going to have a chance to win this at the end of the game.
Now, North Carolina looks like they're going to have the lead at halftime for the first time all season in an ACC game. How about that? Brooks had that one knocked away with 9.1 showing. And 5 on the shot clock, 36-30, and a timeout. North Carolina will take the break as well. Roy Williams to draw up the play. More in a moment. 8 of the ACC State Farm halftime report with Kelsey Riggs and Jordan Cornette coming up at halftime, just seconds away. So Mike Young's team, a severe test here by an undermanned North Carolina team. Without Brandon Robinson, did not make the trip here to Blacksburg. But North Carolina has played very, very well on the turnaround. Here's Brooks. Airmailed that. Time to get a shot. And it's going to be batted away. Actually, he's going to lose it. Nolly lost the basketball, so North Carolina will have an opportunity for last second shot.
Great hands by Leaky Black, not getting the foul, but deflecting the basketball off of Nolly, regaining possession for the Tar Heels. And right now, I would expect just to see the basketball go inside to try to give Brooks a look. As passes over the top, but great back screen and recognition by Black, just not executing the pass correctly.
Obviously, no time going off the clock. 2.2 to go. 36-30, North Carolina. Brooks, by the way, holding the fingers, it looks like, on that left hand. The heave, no good at the buzzer. So North Carolina with the lead at halftime. First time leading at halftime in the ACC. That's rather on the road. Incredible for the Tar Heels. But on top by 6 in a very, very tough environment against Mike Young's Virginia Tech Hokies. And Katie is with Coach Young.
Thanks, Dave. Mike, they clearly want to work the ball inside. What do you need to do to protect the paint moving forward?
We got to put better pressure on the ball. I don't think we're playing very hard. We look timid and soft. You know, they've got too many cutters to the basket. We know what we've got in the 2 big kids, but, you know, just not good enough defensively. I thought our shot selection was, you know, questionable at best, so we got a lot to talk about.
Thanks for the time.
A lot to talk about, and he looks determined to do exactly that. North Carolina on top at halftime, 31. Brooks, the biggest star. Nolly with 12 points for Virginia Tech.
And North Carolina only shot 8 threes out of their 31 field goal attempts, so pretty much everything coming close to the rim. Brooks and Baycott doing a great job on the interior. And you can see that Garrison Brooks is making a concerted effort to do anything he can to try to get his team to get a win, especially on the road.
North Carolina trying to snap a 4-game skid and a 5-game losing streak inside the ACC. Black with it up top. Leaky Black again looking inside. Bounce pass is kicked. In the opening seconds of the second half, Virginia Tech trying to pick up their 14th win of the season. They have a big win over then number 3 Michigan State. That was in Maui.
And only 8 seconds remaining on the shot clock before Wabisabiti kicked that, but the shot clock resets to 20 seconds, giving North Carolina an opportunity to get back into the offense. And because of that, Leaky Black starts off the second half the same way he started off the first, knocking down the 3-pointer. And again, he doesn't have to be a great 3-point shooter. As long as he's respectable enough to hurt teams when they double team Baycott and Brooks on the block, he can be effective for the Heels.
North Carolina with a 9-point lead, their largest lead tonight. That has really quieted a sold-out arena. On the drive, Rafferty's going to be fouled by Pierce, trying to nudge him on the baseline. Back to Leaky Black.
But North Carolina was able to execute their offense with 20 seconds on the shot clock. And once they got it inside, you see the help from Jalen Cone. The kick out from Baycott to Leaky Black, who knocked down the first shot of the game for the Tar Heels from beyond the arc. And now the first shot of the second half the same way.
Well, the Hokies live and die with the 3-pointer. And they were a little chilly by their standards beyond that line. Going to cast that one into the backcourt. And that's going to be a violation. 18:45 to go in this contest.
And that's the 6th turnover for the Hokies, who only average 9.5 per game. So kind of ahead of schedule for Mike Young's team right now. The way they've handled the basketball in this game. And more importantly, they have not been able to get the looks that they're used to getting from beyond the 3-point arc. Give North Carolina's defense credit for that.
Platek with a long jumper, barely grazing the iron. 39-30 North Carolina. The Hokies have really yet to find their offensive groove. Just 4 for 15 outside the 3 in the first half. Now they're looking inside. Shot clock down to 11. As he drives it, kicks it back out. Radford is open, can't stick it. And he was wide open for that jumper.
He was. And, you know, one of the things and the reasons why the Hokies really haven't been able to find that offensive rhythm is Pierce throws it away and gives it back to the Hokies is because they're not able to get out in transition. You know, North Carolina has done a respectable job. Only 5 turnovers, now 6 in this game. But also, North Carolina, the majority of their shots have been at the rim. We talked about, you know, the Tar Heels only taking 8 of their 31 shots from 3, which means you don't have the long rebounds and you can't get out and beat North Carolina in transition off of missed shots.
Nolly coming off 12 in the first half. He averages 18. Point guard off target. Edie, who's just 18% beyond the 3-point line. He's one of the few Hokies who does not shoot it well. Brooks will swing it. Pierce with a pull-up shot. Not there for him.
And not that Justin Pierce can't make that shot, but that one was a bit rushed. You've got Armando Bacot cutting across to the block. And when you can see the front of his jersey or Garrison Brooks's, those two guys need to get the basketball. Normally they're going to get double teamed and make the pass out for their teammates to be able to score. But North Carolina has to play inside out to be successful. I believe they missed an opportunity with the quick shot on that possession.
Platek with a foul, trying to slow up Edie on the drive. He gets it in. Here's Cone from the corner. Got that one from 3-point land.
And we watched Mike Young on the court demonstrative about the way that he needed his team to execute underneath out-of-bounds plays. We watched Jalen Cone make that same shot over and over again and shoot around today, and he pays it off with a big one. But Andrew Platek knocking down the 3 in response.
Yes, there's your answer. This is a North Carolina team that only makes 29% from 3-point territory, but one there to make it 42-33. Going again to the baseline. And that one thrown out.
The underneath out-of-bounds play. And you see Wabisa Beatty with the beautiful find to Jalen Cone knocking down the 3 ball in the corner. And on the other end, playing inside out, Garrison Brooks finding Andrew Platek, who gets to shoot a wide open 3 instead of a contested 3 because his teammates command so much attention on the block.
Garrison Brooks again. Pounding in the paint, they knock it away, scooped up by Cone. And here come the Hokies. Cone with it. Bacot on him. That's a fascinating matchup.
It really is one that Cone did not try to exploit. And another turnover for the Hokies. Uncharacteristic.
P.J. Horn could not handle that. North Carolina without another key guy. That's been the storyline all season long for Roy Williams' team. An amazing injury story for them. Brandon Robinson not with the team tonight. Did not travel from Chapel Hill. Started the loss at Pitt, playing 32 minutes. That was a week after being hit by an impaired driver in a car accident. Rolling inside, and Pierce, a 6'7" graduate student, he knocks that in. Now to William and Mary, where he was all Colonial Athletic for 2 years. And they've been looking for more from him. He gave him a really nice lift in the first half.
Yeah, Pierce now in the double figures in this game. And the young man mentioned it before, 18 points and 12 rebounds at UNC Wilmington, and the only road win thus far this year for North Carolina. And here on the road once again, having a great performance.
Shot clock a factor. Cone has to kick it out. They've got to heave it up there and got it to go.
And I believe the officials are going to go and look at that one.
Yeah.
From the naked eye, it doesn't seem as though he got that off through time, but we'll sort it out through the break as the Tar Heels hold an 8-point.
Here on the ACC network in Blacksburg tonight. Virginia Tech trying to chip away. Now the 3-pointer moments ago, did he get it off? A lean there from the wing.
He got it off. As you can see the ball out of his hands before you see the red light on the scoreboard. And I was wrong. Jeffrey Anderson and I doing hand signals across court. I'm telling him it's no good, it's no good. After replay, I was wrong.
And you're man enough to admit it.
Well, that's the reason I'm sitting over here.
So three-pointer counts, 44-36. North Carolina with the basketball. Brooks on a high post. Will make his way to the basket, takes the bump, fouled on the play. Ojiako picks up the personal. 15 minutes to go here. North Carolina shot the ball for them exceptionally well in the first half, over 50%, with a very strong inside game. And a really nice night out of Garrison Brooks so far.
Over 50% for the first time in the first half this season.
Blackburn shoots shot clock a factor again. Blocked out of the sky, and it's going to be loose. And a shot clock violation. Buckle down defense here by the Hokies. That gets the crowd alive.
And it's small things, but Leaky Black was the guy that really should have taken that shot. Because you see Tyrese Radford, we talked about his wingspan, plays much bigger than his height, and uses it there for the block shot at the end of the shot clock.
It'll be too strong, but a foul on the play as they go inside to the big freshman. The foul will be on Baycott, and that'll be number 2 on Armando Baycott, freshman from Richmond, Virginia. Ojiako heading to the line where he's about 60%. Freshman from Lagos, Nigeria, looked good on that one. Well, Friday night, it's the ACC wrestling opener for number 3 Virginia Tech and number 13 North Carolina right here at Castle Coliseum in Blacksburg. 44-37 Carolina. Lake Tech with a bounce. Baycott wants to get in closer. Strong move and draws the foul. That's really how the game got underway for Carolina offensively. Nolly will pick up his second.
Yeah, Obi, you described that perfectly. This is a strong move by Armando Baycott, getting into the post and forcing Virginia Tech to foul him. But this is where it's been a struggle for North Carolina all season long at the free throw line as Baycott steps up and knocks that down calmly. They missed 11 free throws in their loss at Pittsburgh, shooting under 50% on the road. It's hard to win doing that, as well as when they had 16 turnovers for 23 points for the Panthers. You look at Armando Baycott for his last 3 games. 15, 21, and 12 points respectively, shooting the ball at a better percentage. But the previous 5 games before then, only 6.2 points per game. And Katie, you got something on that?
Yeah, after struggling for a 4-game period, Baycott said he had to get out of his own head. Instead of worrying about the way he was playing, he changed his mindset to fighting for his teammates, playing for them, playing for the guys that are injured and can't be on the floor right now. When he took this different approach, he started performing better, and he thinks that mindset has been the big difference maker.
I believe it has. We've definitely seen a difference in him. And you're talking about a young man who, against Oregon in their big-time front line, goes for 23 points and 12 rebounds. You know, he's had some big performances this season, so he's more than capable of doing so. But as Katie just mentioned, oftentimes he was the guy holding himself back.
Brooks was left alone. That one tipped out by Carolina. Could not drain the shot. So 13:37 remaining here in Blacksburg. And North Carolina looking to get Roy Williams to his 880th career victory. And finally jump 1 ahead of the great Dean Smith on the all-time wins list.
And I believe it was honestly Roy's resistance and, you know, him not really wanting to pass Dean Smith. And right now, he think about it, I'm sure he wants to get to that point after losing 4 straight games. He's like, okay, we need to get this out of the way. But you could tell talking to him early, it wasn't something that he really ever set out to achieve. And of course, if there's anyone that he holds at the highest regard as Dean Smith, he doesn't feel as though he's in that same category, and that record would put him ahead of Dean on the wins list.
I'll tell you what, Justin Pierce is having himself a really fine night. 13 points, came in averaging 6, and he was stone cold before tonight.
Well, one of the things I believe that North Carolina has figured out, Justin Pierce may be a better starter than he is a guy coming off the bench, and it happens that way. I was that type of guy, Obi. I was really good when I was a starter. When I came off the bench, you never knew what you were going to get from me.
Why do you think that was, that mindset?
Because Mama said it's like a box of chocolates.
Fouled by Bacot with 12:59 remaining.
You know, but for some guys, it's getting into a rhythm at the beginning of the game and recognizing that you had the opportunity by your coaches to make a mistake and still stay out there. And you see a difference in Justin Pierce in that starting lineup tonight than we've seen from him in every other game except for UNC Wilmington.
Hunter Couture with a feathery touch. That's a guy who's really been ailing beyond the three-point line. He was 2 for his last 16 before draining that one.
But he's another one of the freshmen that Mike Young have here that can knock down shots. Couture played with a sprained ankle and had to sit out one earlier this season. But trying to get his way back into rotation, into a rhythm here for the Hokies.
Well, Carolina probably one pass too many. Up by 9, as mentioned. Bacot hitting the bench. 3 fouls for the big fella. Aline will hand off. Beatty in tight, no. Rebound tipped away. He's still battling for it. And it's going to stay on this end.
And that's what beats Beatty. Again, doesn't make the shot. But even though he doesn't make the shot in the paint, he doesn't give up on the play and finds a way to maintain possession for his team just by playing hard. The hustle, the effort, and the basketball clearly goes off a leaky block.
Aline back for Horn. Off the fake. Airborne. No. E.J. Horn, the junior from Tifton, Georgia, with a misfire. Carolina trying to get back on top by double digits. And a foul away from the basketball. 11:46 to go. Here in the second half, North Carolina leading by 9.
Of the grad transfer. Only 3 double-figure games thus far this season, and he has his 4th here tonight against the Hokies in the starting lineup for the first time as a North Carolina Tar Heel. He has taken advantage of it, going back to the old school with the sky hook. Justin Pierce having himself a night here at Capitol Coliseum.
13 points, hitting the glass as well. 3 for 4 from 3. This is what they were looking for.
It is a young man who averaged 15 points and over 8 rebounds in his last 2 seasons at William & Mary. And when you think about it, he has the ability to shoot the basketball from beyond the arc. But honestly, I feel as though him being in that starting lineup has helped. And you see now getting an opportunity. You know you're having a good night when Roy Williams is drawing up plays for you coming out of timeout.
Right. Right underneath the basket. Foul will be on Beatty. He picks up number 1.
You know, but everyone on the North Carolina team in this game pretty much has a size advantage. So you can come out, and Pierce, who's capable of playing both the 3 and 4 positions, is used to playing on the interior. And right now at the 4 spot, he's going to have a size advantage over Isaiah Wilkins. You see North Carolina continues to attack the paint with Pierce. This time is unable to make the shot, but will get 2 free throws off a great ball movement and passing by the Tar Heels.
E.J. Horn with his 2nd personal. And Pierce will be at the line, where so far he's been only 55%. 49-40, North Carolina. And Sunday, the Virginia Cavaliers head to Winston-Salem. A showdown with Wake Forest. Cavaliers have won 7 in a row against the Demon Deacons over the last 6 seasons. That's noon Eastern. He missed the pair. And that means bacon for everybody.
Bacon.
Beatty with a nice drive to lay in 2. But that's the promo. Everybody gets bacon, free bacon, if the opponent misses 2 consecutive foul shots.
Okay, now my question is, as Virginia Tech now has built some momentum, the fans into the game because of bacon, how are you giving this bacon? Is this bacon already cooked?
Too many questions. Three-pointer not there by Aline. We'll get to the bottom of it. Katie will. I'm positive of that. But anytime you're talking about undergrads and bacon, it's excitement in a college basketball arena. Here's a little jump shot that won't go on the turnaround.
And right now, Virginia Tech just needs something to continue this momentum and blow the roof off of this Coliseum, which could be this three by Naheem Aline. And I'm sure Roy Williams is going to want a timeout to try to stop the bleeding for the Heels.
He'll take one right here. It's an 8-0 run for Virginia Tech. This is the second consecutive miss. And look at the student section just go ballistic because they get free bacon.
And to top it off, you get more momentum off of Naheem Aline. Three-point basket, forcing Roy Williams to call the timeout. And Katie, tell us something about this bacon.
Well, at Dave's request, I did some digging. All fans will receive a voucher to purchase uncooked Smithfield bacon. I cannot confirm if the three of us will receive that said voucher.
Oh, I'm getting bacon. Hey, wait a minute. I was here. I was here when it happened. I need my voucher for my bacon. Katie, at Dave's request, you found out about that. Now I need for you to find out how we get our bacon.
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
Thank you.
I'll head out.
An elbow here. Stopping the clock at 9:54 to go. You take a look at the right side of your screen. Ojiako.
We see Ojiako trying to stop the Garrison Brooks cut to the basket. And as you go through, Ojiako elbow runs into the face of Andrew Platek trying to set that screen. To me, incidental contact, that's just part of basketball. And a lot of times when you've got big guys like Ojiako and smaller guys setting a screen, their elbow in their normal motion is at eye level, right, to guards. And, you know, they're just trying to get there and play defense. I can remember playing against Dikembe Mutombo and David Robinson, those guys, and when they start swinging elbows around, you better just start ducking. But you see Ojiako here, he really is trying to get through this screen. Platek does a great job getting stopped. Well, now, wait a minute.
Got him pretty good, by the way.
That angle, the swing through afterwards, once you get past the screen and swinging through to the back of the head, this one is up in the air. Initially, I thought it was just incidental contact, but you see a little motion there from Ojiako at the end of the play, going to the back of the head with the elbow to Platek, which may land Platek on the line for a flagrant foul free throw.
Yeah, and so they've been looking at this a little while now, the official review, and the longer they look at it, the more you figure they're likely to come back with a flagrant.
Yeah, now the conversation between the three, we'll see if they go to each coach and let them know what happens. Normally, if that's the case, it's going to be a flagrant foul. But with this conversation and the deliberation that's gone on this long, I believe we're probably going to get. Now, look at this. Now, while the officials are talking, Mike Young and Roy Williams are in the middle of the floor. Mike Young has come down midway to talk to Roy. These guys actually having a conversation.
Did Mike come over and say, Roy, when you ran me that day at Dean Smith Camp, I mean, come on now. How about an apology? I was just a kid. I left the lights on. Everybody leaves the lights on.
You're talking about two of the best personalities that we have for coaches in the ACC.
Yes.
And getting together while the deliberation's going on, talking about whatever that probably has nothing to do with basketball.
Here's a look. We're going to get the official word. And is this a flagrant one?
It is a flagrant one foul on Ojiako. And again, when you see the back motion, originally I thought it was an incidental contact, but that motion, once he gets through and swings through, I don't believe that was necessary. And it wasn't a basketball play. And when you see excessive and unnecessary, not legitimate play on the ball, you know, when you look at that, that play holds right into the form of that. He didn't have to do that. And of course, you get the free throws and Platek takes advantage of it.
And of course, North Carolina will have the basketball as well, 51-45.
And Obi, you know what's even bigger? That's a momentum stopper. We were just talking about Bacon and knocking down threes.
Yep.
And just like this could be a 5-point possession.
Foul against Carolina. And that one is going to go against the Carolina big, Armando Bacot. And that's number 4 on Bacot, who is going to have to leave the court again.
Now, and Obi, one of the things I didn't mention earlier when Bacot got the foul, when Ojiaku shot the turnaround jump shot, that's a silly foul. But that was his second foul, and since then he's picked up 2 more. And now with 9.5 remaining, he's got to sit. And of course, North Carolina is a better team with Armando Bacot on the floor. But those are freshman errors that end up costing you. You never think about the fact that your second foul is that big of a deal until you've got to go sit down this long with 4 fouls.
Another foul here with 9:22 to go. A lot more whistles here in the second half than we saw in the first half. In fact, hardly any fouls in the first 20 minutes. Ojiaku will pick up number 3. So Brooks headed to the line where he is 63%, shooting 1-1. With 9:22 to go, and a lot of momentum shifts here since halftime. Brooks was the big star, frankly, for either side in the first half. He had 15 points.
And Garrison Brooks continues to impress without Cole Anthony, and I believe it's something that North Carolina has found, that when they get with Cole Anthony back, they can go to take some of the pressure off of Anthony as a scorer. And which could end up being a blessing in disguise. Of course, no one wants to lose this many games, but it's something that could help this North Carolina team moving into the future.
Nolly, the number 3 scorer in the ACC, off the fake and got the contact. He almost made the shot. And as Brooks came out to hit him, his second foul. Take a look at that pump fake.
But as you mentioned it, Obi, if you're not one of the top scorers in the ACC, and you don't shoot the basketball this well, Garrison Brooks doesn't jump at that. So Landers Nolley recognizing how defenders play him because he is putting up big numbers, because he is a knockdown 3-point shooter, and knowing that all he had to do was a subtle movement to get Garrison Brooks into the air.
Shooting 3, 78% at the line. He rattles that one in. Tomorrow, a women's basketball doubleheader here on ACC Network. 6 Eastern, Miami taking on Clemson. Then it's Duke and Syracuse inside the Carrier Dome. And this has become a 3-point game under 9 minutes to play.
Obi, one of the things that you and I have seen in covering North Carolina at this point in the game is where they have missed Cole Anthony and missed having that point guard and playmaker at the end of games. We've seen them play well for stretches and then end up losing games because they don't understand how to get the basketball to the right player's hands at the end. This time Garrison Brooks gets it and makes the Hokies pay. But you have to have a heavy dose of Garrison Brooks for the remaining 8.5 minutes of this game for North Carolina to try to get a win.
As great as he was in the first half, those are his first 2 points of the second half. Remember, he had that ailing hand after he nailed it on the rim at the conclusion of the first half. Nolly fires. No.
But the problem for North Carolina is you have to have someone taking charge and getting the ball into the hands of Brooks in scoring position.
Blake Tech loses the dribble. Francis for Brooks. Brooks faces up. Very determined to shoot it. Takes the shot. Almost made it. And he'll be at the line again. That was with 8 on the shot clock.
And I like it. Garrison Brooks taking matters into his own hands at the end of the shot clock, playing bigger team finish. And by finish, you have to make the right plays, handle the basketball well, not turn it over, make your free throws, and more importantly, come up with defensive stops to give Roy Williams to win number 880, and more important to Roy, get his team to 9 wins for this season.
Brooks makes the second end, 54-48. Carolina was dominating in the paint in the first half. That's not been the case in the second half.
It has not, and the adjustments, Mike Young talked to Katie about the fact that they had to make some adjustments to deal with North Carolina in the paint, specifically Garrison Brooks, who has 15 first-half points. And they've done that. But one of the things that North Carolina has done is keep the Hokies off the three-point line. And as soon as you speak it into existence, it shows up. P.J. Horn knocking down the big three.
That is their game. Half of their shots come beyond the three-point line. 54-51. Brooks battling hard, goes to the baseline, draws the double team, and traveling with it. So they double up on him and force the turnover.
And now the 10th turnover for the Tar Heels. And you see Landers Nolley being a playmaker, finding P.J. Horn for the knockdown three. And then coming in to double team early on the other end of the floor, gets the turnover. Now Labisa Beatty takes it into his hands to try to get into the lead a little bit. When unable to finish the shot, compounds the mistake with the foul.
Now back to that trap, which was so effective.
Well, and you see Landers Nolley comes over from the backside. Garrison Brooks has no idea Nolley is there and spins right into Nolley, turning the basketball over. As the officials, I believe, are going to go look at something.
And Beatty committed a foul moments ago, and I wonder if this is a clock issue. They may need to reset before Carolina can be at the line. So another official review here, with North Carolina leading by 3.
And right now, Obi, you and I together have seen, we were there for the 14-point lead that the Tar Heels had over Pittsburgh in the Smith Center, and surrendered that. A great second half by the Panthers to come away with a win and breaking their 22-game ACC road losing streak in the Smith Center. And right now, North Carolina trying to finish this one off, but we see the clock.
Clock is going to stop right there at 7:16 as play continued. So a malfunction there. We have at the moment 7:04 showing.
You know, but it's interesting because there was so much game action after that. You had to think about, there was another possession where Beatty goes down and gets the shot. So at 7:04, that possession took 12 seconds. But right now, the officials are probably going to have to run another 15 seconds or so off the clock, right, to be able to get it back to where they were.
Well, deep into the second half here at Blacksburg, North Carolina against Virginia Tech. And Friday at 9 Eastern, the latest installation of Bald Men on Campus. It's our weekend studio basketball show previewing the weekend's ACC slate of games. The latest from Raleigh Conference, the follically challenged Jay Billis, LaFonso Ellis, and Seth Greenberg, all part of Bald Men on Campus. This man so they've reset the clock to 6:52 and play Tech at the strike.
Now that I think about it, I don't know that we want to go. We might lose our hair. We don't want
Might
that
be
problem.
something in the water. He misfires on that one. So now Virginia Tech, typically so good from beyond the three-point line, 3 points down. Nolley's had a really weird night, 3 for 13 shooting it. Couture, he can bury the threes, 38%. Nolley with the touch, swings it out. Couture, the shot clock down to 5, scoops it up, and it won't drop for him.
And this is one of those times where you have that mental liability of being able to take a lead, to get over the top. Virginia Tech has fought back to make this a one-possession game, but on the last 2 offensive possessions, they have been unable to cut into this lead or even tie the basketball game up.
Pierce fires the pass. Black gets it back and sticks it. A big 3. Just under 6 minutes to go.
And you think about that swing. You don't get either one of these shots at the basket if you're Virginia Tech to make it a 1-point game. And on the other end of the floor, Leaky Black knocks down the 3. Now a 6-point lead for the Tar Heels. And those are the type of plays that they need to build confidence.
Beatty held on the drive by Justin Pierce, his third.
And Leaky Black hesitant to take this first three where he's open, gives it up to Playtech, but then catching it back, steps into it confidently, knocking down the three ball to extend the lead for the Tar Heels.
Now, one of the things that Roy Williams told his team after that very disappointing loss to Pittsburgh, the second loss, 1-1 here for Beatty, he makes 53% at the line. He said there's still a lot of basketball to go. He said, what, 14 games, including this one, remaining on the schedule. That's a lot of basketball, a lot of time to change the narrative of the season.
And not only that, ACC basketball, where you're going to get quality opponents and you can get resume building wins, that at 1-5 right now, if you can come up and win, 10 of your next 16 games, you've got a winning record in the ACC. And, of course, there's going to have to be a lot of quality wins in that mix. They have wins over Oregon, over Alabama. They've got, a strong win over Notre Dame early this year. So this is a North Carolina team who still feels that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And they know that they are going to get their leader, Cole Anthony, back.
Brooks back for Black. That won't drop for him from the corner. Tipped out of play. And the Hokies will have the basketball.